everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Memorial Day weekend, guys. We are wonderfully happy today, and we hope you are too. And you know what? We hope you are too, because we're talking about a very serious topic today that everybody needs to take some action on, okay? And we're going to talk about what it is. But first, let us introduce ourselves. I am Cynthia Merritt, and I am 60-ish and found myself getting upon retirement age with very little retirement savings. So I said, let me change the trajectory of this game in this fourth quarter. So that's who I am, and my co-host.
Hey, I'm Valerie Davis, and I'm 53 years old, and I found myself getting older, not yet near retirement age, and not having enough savings. I haven't even have cash on hand. So I too am here to trajectory. Did I say it right there? To change the trajectory.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so today, you guys, something very timely for us to discuss today is that we are actually, let me bring this note here that I have on the screen. I want to bring it down here so I can take a look at it. But we are actually at a point right now where we need to pay attention to some things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have been talking, I've been talking to a lot of people, and I do this, I talk to a lot of people and try to just measure what's going on with everyone. And trying to see if people are keeping up to with what's going on in the world and in our country and with the government and how it will affect them. And it's really saddening me when I run into so many people who don't know. They're like, some people are like, girl, I don't even watch the news anymore. Well, I
Yeah.
don't watch the news on television, the local stations like ABC, CBS, NBC, because those have all been bought out, and Fox News, even
Right.
CNN, all of them. And so they're feeding the country what they want the country to know. And so what you need to do is get your independent media sources. And we've discussed that lately. But
Mm-hmm.
so now we're here. We're at this point, y'all. It ain't no joke anymore. Okay. So everyone needs to get hip. And I promise you, everyone needs to take a look at Project 2025, because
Yes.
it's not, they have not hidden anything from us. People just didn't take the time or energy to read upon it and see what they were about to do to us once they got in power. And when they got in power, they're doing it exactly as it's laid out in Project 2025. So we're at that point, and Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security, FEMA, SNAP benefits are now going to be cut. Okay. We must be nimble, and we can't just walk around here acting like times are normal, because they're not. People are about to die because they can't get treatment and medication from Medicaid. And believe me, if Medicaid gets cut, you can't say, oh, I'm on Medicare. Boo, if you're on Medicare and part of your, if your part B is being supplemented, I can't remember if it's part A or part B that Medicaid pays, but it's the $184 premium that you have to pay. And if you can't pay it, then Medicaid has picked it up to where it was free. That's not going to be anymore. So then these people who are on Social Security checks and living off of Social Security checks and had the Medicare, now when the Medicaid is gone, it has to be paid for their Medicare.
Right.
And so guess where it's coming from? Their Social Security check. They're going to take it out of your Social Security check. So your Social Security check is going to go down. And you see the states that have had tornadoes, and every time their governor has been asked, and Governor Kemp is one of them, because he asked for the continuance of Hurricane Helene's FEMA benefits. and he was denied. So the people who had and are having these tornadoes right now and have been their governors have been asking for assistance with FEMA, Trump has been denying every single one of them. So he's not giving help. If you get a disaster, you're SOL. If your insurance is not covering it, figure it out. So this is why we have to be nimble, you guys. We gotta be saving everything we have. They call it, I'm giving some information here because I need for y'all to know. They're calling it the Big Beautiful Bill. This is what they tried to pass the other night at 1 a.m. in the morning, so nobody would know. But the Democrats, some of the Democrats got word and they went down there and they were throwing it up amendments for everything they were trying to pass. So in that big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill, it is set to decrease the household resources among the lowest 10th of the income earners in our society, in our country. So if you are within the lowest 10th of the income earners, it's going to decrease your household income and resources at that point. Okay. And then by doing that, it is transferring over to the top income earners, the highest income earners, and they will get up to 4% increase in their household resources. And so, yeah, and this is going to affect that's going to go into play for those that highest income 10th by 2% by 2033. So it's going to increase and decrease little by little each year until we get to 2023. And then it will just be permanent. Now, the bill will increase the national debt. They're always talking about how big the national debt is and we need to get rid of it. But guess what? They voted to increase the national debt by $2.3 trillion. And this will be to help those top earners get tax cuts and get richer. That's why. That's what the whole thing is for, to take money from those who need it most
and give
it to those who need it least or at all. They don't even need it at all. And their family, their children's children are set up already to live a wealthy life, but they want to take from the lowest people right now. And they don't care if you are needing health treatment or medication and you can't get it and you die. They just don't care. And they don't care about children who are on SNAP benefits, who won't be able to get food and starve to death if they can't go to a pantry and get some food. It's crazy, and it makes me mad. You see how mad I get. I have gotten back on my thing, Val. Before my father died, before my father passed, I had told Daddy, and this was before Trump got into his first term. It was when Obama was still in office. I told Daddy I wanted to run for Congress. And he said, "Oh, Cindy, I think you would be a great congresswoman." I said, "You know, Daddy, I know I would. I really do know I would." And then when Trump got in office, I said, I completely lost interest. I said, if they let somebody, a clown like that in office, it's making a joke to me out of even being, in the government. And so I no longer was interested. This right here has gotten me so riled up. If we get to a point where we have another election, because we very well may not.
Right. But you can reconsider now.
Oh, girl, I'm really reconsidering because they need some help up in there because these people up in that Congress right now need to be punched in the face.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
We're getting the beat down.
Yes. And so it's going to increase the national debt by $2.3 trillion and it will rescind health care coverage for 8.6 million people.
Oh my God.
No health care. So I'm just over it right now. But so what we're going to talk about today is savings and budgeting for 2025 and how it's more crucial now than ever before because of a combination of the economic and the social and technological factors. We all significantly will be financially impacted with all of these things going into place. The tariffs and things that are already. I went looking for a new dongle for my laptop, another thing I have to hook up. And I was like, look at the prices going up. I'm not paying as much. So anyway, but savings is huge right now, and we're going to talk about some key reasons why we have to prioritize saving and budgeting for right now. So the first one I'm going to talk about, I'll take the first one. It is economic uncertainty, and y'all, we can't be spending like we normally do. Because I actually used to have an Amazon truck pull up to my house almost every day. But these are not normal times.
Not normal.
Inflation and interest rates are unpredictable, and inflation is cooled off in some areas. Maybe you may not be feeling it, but prices for essential household goods and food and health care are still high. So we got to be nimble. We got to pay attention to what we're doing and put some money away. Put some cash away, because I have been alerted that we need to have some cash in the house. Keep some cash in the house, y'all. Because if the grid goes down and ATM cards all of a sudden don't work,
what are you gonna do? So you gotta
have some cash.
And
have some cash. Get a little safe, keep some cash in the house. And so also geopolitical tensions. So because of the supply chain issues, that can quickly disrupt our economics, affecting the job markets and the costs. So, and also, we may be employed right now. And I was talking about this to a group of people the other day. We were talking about, those of us still employed, everything is fine right now. But just know, nobody's safe from cuts, even if you're not in the government or the public sector, rather. If you're in the private sector, these companies that own, their businesses and their private businesses, be nimble, guys.
Be nimble. And
you know what, Cynthia? Go ahead, Val.
You were saying keeping your money in a safe, keeping your money at home. Well, that's great, but be a good steward of your money, because oftentimes people have that money at home, then their hands itching, they want to spend it.
Yes.
It's hard. Cynthia is saying what's going on and why it started, why it's going on, why we need to save that money. Do not touch the money because it's there.
Yes.
It's meant for the hard times that are coming. So you got to be a good steward of your money. We can say put the money at home all day long, but if you're not a good steward of the money, it does not make it. So you got to be a good steward of that money.
That's it. That is so true.
Yeah. So and also it's not only affecting our it's not only just affecting our inflation and interest rates. So let's talk about the job market. Since you mentioned that just a little bit. So we know about AI. Automation and AI is reshaping the industry. Jobs that were secure, we knew it was secure, even a few years ago, are now being reconstructed and or eliminated. All right. And it was so weird, not weird, but it's just part of our plans, because I received an email last week, and I'm pulling it up now so I can read it, about the what jobs AI are not replacing, because it's going to be so different of the jobs that they are replacing. So some of the fields the AI are not replacing because they need human touch, they need human brain, healthcare, education, human resources. All right. And then they also say, your skill trades, your skill hand trades. So the healthcare, when it comes to doctors, nurses, and therapists, AI can't replace that. Teachers can't replace the teachers. However, they can have training material that's just recorded for some individuals. So so it's here and there. But we need to think about the job market, how important it is to know that things are changing, and we have to take the money that we're making, we have to save that. Okay. Another thing, gig and freelance workers. So that work may continue to grow, but these are often the one thing about gig workers is you really don't have benefits. So if you're not making enough money from that gig, then what are you going to do about your benefits? And or you may be paying more to have your insurance. Okay. So those once again, there's lack of benefits and income stability. I've heard you mention something about DoorDash. I've done Uber Eats. I've done Lyft, and sometimes I may plan to say, "Hey, I'm going to get $200 today," and sometimes I don't make it. So it's so you gotta be the gig and freelance worker sometimes not that stable. So you gotta, which makes budgeting very critical. And here again, if you're not that person that's really good with your money, a good steward of your money, then what are you going to do about the money that you bring in and not touching it and saving it? Okay. So we want to think about the job market. Think about what's going on and how we're being affected with the job market. And here again, I'm probably gonna say it 1,000 times today. Just because you keep the money in house doesn't mean that it should be easy to spend it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So think about that. Think about all these things. Think about the job market.
Absolutely. And everybody knows, and we're feeling it. I felt it today when I went out looking for that doggle. The cost of living is rising. Everything right now is rising. The utility bills, our car insurance is rising. And our definitely products, if you're shopping and buying products, but people's rent, it's harder, it's more difficult rather, or more challenging to live right now, to make ends meet. And it's sad, but that's the time we're in right now. And that's the pain that we're talking about after the election. There's going to be some pain. The pain is struggling to make these ends meet so that you can keep your household going. And a lot of times that's meaning us getting another job, and having to have a second job. So, but wages are just not keeping the pace with what the cost of living is. It's just not equaling out. And that's for our education, for the healthcare, and the cost of living. And I'm going to say this about education. And I have a whole different take about education now, so I'm not even going to go there with that. But there are so many things young people, we were just talking about the graduations and things, and people having all the graduation. There are so many different good industries that young people can get in right now and get a certification or, something like that. Go to a junior college, get an associate's degree in something, and be just as good if you're going to go to college. But there's a lot of stuff you can do online. Coursera has excellent certification programs.
Yes.
You can do them. And you guys, these are jobs where you can go in and you can make six figures once you get some experience easily. Data analysts and things like that, and cybersecurity, those are huge right now. Plenty of people are making six figures with those fields.
Yes.
So, and nobody had, I'm saying not nobody, but a lot of people have not incurred all that student loan debt that's not going to be able to be forgiven. And you go pay. And now they're saying, with the new administration, they're saying, oh, and if you default on your student loan debt, we're going to garnish your check. So we're going to get our money. So, how about maybe not take out any loans and go ahead and get your six-figure job. But anyway, but keep on budgeting, you guys, and just plan for the budget and adjust your income and your household budget and everything to keep you up to where you need to be, because the wages aren't keeping up with the pace on the expenses, because everything is getting so much more expensive.
I had someone tell me years ago that they take 30% of their paycheck every time they got paid. They take 30% of that paycheck and put it back.
Okay, 30%.
30% of your paycheck. And or I gave an illustration of a number. If you make $3,000,
3,000 a week.
if you make $3,000 a week or bi-weekly or whatever, live as if you only made $2,000 during that pay period. So that $1,000, you put that into savings.
Okay, if you make $3,000, live as if you made 1,000.
Live as if you made 2,000.
2,000. Okay.
1,000 back.
Take that 1,000 and put it in the savings.
Yes, ma'am.
About fast. But don't feel bad. I got my fan over here blowing on me, honey.
Oh Lord.
Okay, go ahead.
That's right here.
I know. Anywho. Okay, so we got it. So take the 1,000 and yes, keep it in there no matter what.
No,
and live off the 2,000. We hear you, girl. Okay. That's some good stuff, right? That is the secret sauce. It really is. That is the secret sauce. Okay, so let's talk about retirement planning. So for those of us who are here, or even if you're not here, because one day you're going to be okay. I know that's right. So editor. So the what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the retirement. Everybody's gonna be getting to the retirement. So anyway, now is the time to be planning. Whether you're here like me, actually I'm not here. I'm close to here. I'm only 62. And so I'm not planning to retire until I'm 67. So I still have 5 years before retirement. However, with the future of Social Security and your pensions increasingly rare now, it's crucial that we start saving for our retirements now as early as possible. And if you're in the group like me, where you're at the end, you have to do the accelerated saving like I'm doing now, because that's the way you catch up. The investing and saving accelerate at an accelerated rate, so you can get caught up. It's never too late to start as long as you have a plan. And then you just have to know that you have to make your numbers work. So you have to be diligent and do what you need to do. Compounding interest is the key. We've got to go with the compounding interest. That's what's going to help get our savings and investments where they need to be. And it rewards the early and consistent savings. So if you start early, your compounding interest is going to pay off so much for you. When you get to retirement age, you're going to be living in luxury if you want to be. So, but you got to be diligent about it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's a word right there, honey. Diligent about it. That's a word in itself. That speaks volumes right there. Even when it comes to heavy management, you got to be diligent about it, right? Credit card debt, student loans can quickly spiral out of control, guys, without a clear budget. So we gotta stay on top of it. Can you guys hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Okay. It's going in and out.
Okay. Well, when it comes to your credit card debt,
yeah,
I want you guys to stay on top of it, because it can spiral out of control.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So make sure you pay what you can on your credit cards. Make sure you pay what you can on your student loans. Go ahead and make those arrangements. But when you make those arrangements, adhere to those arrangements. Okay?
Yes.
So try to come up with a clear budget. Be realistic. Be realistic about what you can and cannot do. All right. When you budget, that helps prioritize paying off high interest debt. We talked about that before. Freeing up future income. We talked about before, either paying the smaller debt first or the larger debt. I forgot that term that you used, Cynthia, but there was a term that you used about that. So, but try to budget and prioritize paying off interest debt.
Yeah.
You want to free up the income for the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then because what our goal is the fire, financial independence, retire early. Everybody wants that fire. Okay. So
Girl, put that in my phone.
yes, yes, fire, financial independence, retire early. And that's the goal. So whether what you want to do when you retire is travel, you can start a business, you can buy a home, or just go back to school. Whatever it is you want to do when you retire, you want to set yourself up so you can do that. And you want to be able to retire early enough to be able to do that. You're not trying to be sitting on the porch rocking in a rocking chair. So
No.
you want to be living and enjoying your life. Yes. So, and that's why it's important to have financial independence. Financial independence, it just offers you choices and options in life. And so when you're financially independent, no one can tell you you have to live here, do this, do that. You can do what you please. You can travel whenever you want. You can start a business, buy a home, go back to school, start a hobby, whatever, because you're financially independent. And so that is what you want. And you want to be able to do that early. So fire is the goal, guys. And then saving, of course, when we're saving, we've been talking about that all day, budgeting and saving. But when you save your money, it just gives you freedom, and you can make your life decisions according to what your savings tells you, not what someone else tells you, because they're saying, oh, you don't have this kind of money or whatever, so you can't do this. But if you have your money saved, no one can tell you anything. So everything is a choice of yours, and nothing is being solely driven by money. So that's what you want. Fire.
I like that. Fire.
Absolutely.
I never even thought of it in that sense. So I like that. I like that. And that just it put some fire up under my feet.
Okay. That's what we want. That's what we want to hear.
Yes, we want the fire up under our feet, guys. So we want to think about also when we're trying to budget, technology makes it easier for us to budget, especially with AI. So we have all these saving tools here in 2025. There's more to come. They're more powerful. They're accessible than ever. We have so many apps that we can download on our phone, and they're all AI driven, and they're powered by budgeting assistance. All right, and then also what I do is I set alarms on um, alerts. Rather. I set alerts on my phone, on my calendar, and even with my bank with my spending. So I make sure that I get those alerts about, okay, well, I don't know if you have it or not, but it would tell me if I spent more money this week than I did last week. Do you have that on with your bank? If with my bank, it tells me if I spent more money this week than I did last week. So I like when I get those alerts when they come up.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I like those. So it's a good way of tracking what I'm spending. You can optimize your financial plans in real time. So technology make it easier for us to budget and realize what we're spending and what we're spending it on.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I think a couple of weeks ago I talked about how I never realized how much money I spent going out to eat.
Oh my gosh.
I look at like, oh my God, there's no
crazy.
way I should be spending
that much money.
That much money going out to eat. Yeah. So hey, these apps and stuff, they really help. So there's a lot of ways that we can really snap back and do what needs to be done so that we can protect ourselves, so that we can govern ourselves. That we have told you guys about what's happening with Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP, as well as things. She told you all these things that are happening right now. And as she stated in the beginning, now it's the time. She said this once before. Now it's the time is that we don't spend unless we really have to.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
We have to be, what did you say, Cynthia?
Nimble.
We
nimble. Have to be nimble. And you know what? And so here's what the deal is right now. So all of that passed in the House. It was a 212 to 214 vote. So that passed in the House. Now, next week, it's going to the Senate. So everyone, please call your senator and make sure, just tell them don't vote no. Because some of them could possibly vote yes. But anyway, the Senate's got the vote, and then if it passes the Senate, then these things that we've talked about today are actually going to the president's desk, and you know he's going to sign off on it. So, but to keep that from even happening, let it fail the Senate, and so it won't be able to go in for that. So call your senators, make sure. You know I'm calling John Ossoff. I call John Ossoff every week. He's sick of me. So if I do ever run for Congress, he's gonna say, "It's so nice to meet you finally in person. You do know when you're a constituent." I know.
I've heard from you at least 3 times a week.
I know.
You got my vote, Cynthia.
I know. So, and I'm gonna give the number too. And budgeting and saving. These are the final thoughts, you guys, before I give the phone number for your Congress people here. Budgeting and saving aren't just about restricting you. It's about freedom and stability and peace of mind. You guys, we want to do this in 2025. It's going to put us in position, if we do it now, to better handle the uncertainty. And we know that like when you were talking about the savings for our emergencies now, we know it's not a matter of if it happens. We know it's when. It's always going to happen. We always have emergencies. And so now, yeah. And so now this is going to allow us to seize the opportunities when they come to us and be ready for everything. Here's the phone number, y'all. 202 224 3121. 224 3121. 202 224 3121. I need to make a fancier tune to stick with.
3121.
224 3121. Yeah. So it'll stick in your mind, y'all. I'm trying to do like they do on the commercials. And every time you see it, you start seeing the song.
I'm trying to do the numbers with my fingers. I'm like, oh God, forgive me.
I know. But y'all don't forget. Call your Congress people, because next week they're going to be voting on it. And that's the Senate. And the House voted it in at 1:00 in the morning last week. But y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay nimble, but enjoy it. Okay. I mean, do what you need to do with your family and your friends. Have a great time, because that's what life is about. And so, but don't be out there buying everything in the world from Amazon.com and have your truck coming 55 times a day. But
Cut it down. So just a few Bible verses here.
Yeah.
Psalm 119, 130. Heavenly Father, may your word bring clarity and understanding to my life.
Okay, now.
So we got some things that are changing, so we need clarity. Yes. Since you just said don't be spending. So be clear about why you're not spending, okay?
Be nimble, and everybody wants that fire.
Exactly. And this last thing right here, this was at church today, James 5:16 and Isaiah 65:24. Either, in so many words, either live with it or pray your way out of it. So when we're thinking about things that's going on with our life, instead of complaining and explaining, as I say, either we're going to live with what's going on or we're going to pray our way out of it. Right?
Okay.
So here again, there's some stuff that's happening. We're going to have to live with it, but we're going to have to pray our way out of it. Okay? Yes. All right. Let's keep on praying, guys.
Thanks, Val.
Not a problem. Don't forget.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you.
Please do. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Bye.